Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving straight into what is literally a monumental matchup in the tech world. In one corner, we have Samsung's highly refined, brand new Galaxy Z Fold 8, and in the other corner, we have the heavily rumored, incredibly anticipated Apple iPhone Fold, which a lot of the leaks are actually calling the iPhone Ultra.
So here's the massive question we are tackling today. Can Apple truly dethrone Samsung's long-standing dominance in the foldable market? Now, as we unpack this, it's absolutely crucial to remember the stakes here. Samsung's specs are officially real. They were confirmed on August 7, 2026. Apple's details, on the other hand, well, they're based on some incredibly strong supply chain leaks pointing to a September release. So we're basically comparing a proven reality against a massive, impending rumor.
Okay, let's jump right in. We're going to break today's matchup down across 5 distinct battlegrounds. First, the Passport form factor. Second, curing the display crease. Third, silicon power and performance. Fourth, biometrics and security. And finally, number 5, the premium pricing gap.
All right, kicking things off with round 1, the Passport form factor. Wider, shorter, and highly portable.
You know, for years, foldables were essentially these thick candy bar phones that opened up into somewhat awkward squares. But the smartphone market is completely abandoning those tall, narrow screens for a much wider shape. Samsung's new Z Fold 8 introduces this wider, shorter, way more pocket-friendly design. It rocks a 4:3 inner aspect ratio, which really gives the device an iPad-like feel. And the leaks strongly indicate Apple is adopting this exact same Passport-style shape.
Now, what is truly shocking when you dig into the specs is just how similar these two devices are shaping up to be. Samsung brings a 7.6-inch inner display and a 5.5-inch cover screen. Apple is rumored to be just a tiny fraction larger on the inside, maxing out around 7.8 inches. But the true marvel here? The thickness. Both of these devices are clocking in at around 4.5 millimeters when fully unfolded. To put that into perspective, that is barely thicker than a USB-C port itself. It's staggeringly thin.
So why does this Passport shape actually matter for you? Well, it's all about the software adaptability. A wider canvas allows the software to truly shine. Samsung's One UI 9 finally gives split-screen layouts actual breathing room, so your apps don't look all squished together anymore. Meanwhile, Apple's upcoming iOS 27 is heavily rumored to fully support side-by-side app functionality and tablet-style left-aligned sidebars. It turns this form factor into a true multitasking hybrid.
Moving right along to round 2, curing the display crease, the battle for a perfectly flat screen.
If you've ever used a foldable, you know the center crease is the elephant in the room. It's the biggest historical flaw of these devices. Well, Samsung is tackling this head-on with the Z Fold 8, using a proven technology they call Flex Titanium. By utilizing a titanium alloy film and a supportive titanium plate right beneath the display module itself, they've managed to basically eliminate air gaps and create a much more stretchable panel. It really reinforces durability while significantly hiding that annoying crease.
Now, contrast that with Apple's game plan. Supply chain leaks suggest Apple is going a totally different route, using liquid metal alloy components inside their hinge paired with laser drill plates and an optically clear adhesive. The whole goal here is to evenly redistribute the physical stress across a much wider bending zone. That keeps the fold remarkably smooth and minimizes microscopic cracks over time.
The underlying engineering logic here is actually perfectly captured by a quote directly from the source leaks. It says, Apple pursued eliminating the crease regardless of cost, developed a new material property. Their ultimate goal? To get the crease depth under 0.15 millimeters with a crease angle under 2.5 degrees. That would make it practically invisible to both the eye and the touch.
Okay, round 3, silicon power and performance. Flagship brains for hybrid devices.
Keep in mind, these aren't just phones, they're basically pocket computers, and they require massive flagship brains under the hood to power those crazy, pixel-dense displays and all those new AI features. This is a true battle of the heavyweights. Samsung is rocking the customized Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, built on a highly efficient 3nm process. But Apple? They're rumored to be pushing the boundaries even further with their A20 processor, built on TSMC's mind-bending 2nm process. That denser architecture means we're looking at a chip that's expected to be 15% faster and 30% more efficient than Apple's previous generation.
But hey, raw speed isn't everything. Heat and battery life are the real nightmares in a 4.5mm chassis. Both companies are investing heavily in advanced vapor chamber cooling just to prevent these things from melting in your hands.
Powering the show, the Z Fold 8 features a super robust 4800 mAh silicon-carbon dual battery. Apple is reportedly going for a massive 5400 to 5800 mAh split battery. Oh, and both devices are setting a firm baseline of 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is an absolute necessity if you want to run intense on-device AI tasks smoothly.
Next up, round 4, biometrics and security. A shift away from facial recognition.
This is where things get super interesting. The relentless pursuit of extreme thinness has forced a major hardware compromise for both brands. If you are used to bulky facial recognition hardware or fancy under-display scanners, well, prepare for a big change. Samsung has long relied on a side-mounted fingerprint scanner for the Fold series, and they're sticking to their guns here. But the leaks indicate Apple is totally abandoning Face ID for this device. Instead, they're opting for a power button Touch ID system, very much like what we've seen on the iPad.
So why the sudden switch for Apple? It literally just comes down to physics. An ultra-thin 4.5mm open chassis leaves absolutely zero room for Apple's complex true-depth Face ID camera system. Achieving that mind-blowing thinness means they have to return to Touch ID, which, funny enough, puts Apple's biometric approach directly on par with Samsung's side-mounted hardware.
And that brings us to our final round, the premium pricing gap, paying the pioneer tax.
All right, it's time to face the harsh financial reality of buying a flagship foldable in 2026. Samsung has officially priced the Galaxy Z Fold 8 at $1,899 for its 256GB base model. There's no getting around it. That is undeniably a premium price tag, but it does reflect the highly refined 8th-generation hardware you're actually holding in your hands.
But then there's Apple. Analysts project the average selling price, or the higher-tier cost, for the upcoming iPhone Fold to sit at a staggering $2,500. Yeah. Wow.
And this really brilliantly illustrates the financial gap you'll be navigating. While Apple's absolute base model might start closer to $2,000, if you decide to max out the storage to 1 terabyte, you could be pushing that iPhone Ultra up to nearly $3,000. You are looking at paying a massive pioneer tax just to experience Apple's very first generation of foldable technology.
So, let's wrap all of this up and look at the big picture. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 is here right now. It's real, it's proven, 8th-generation hardware featuring that brilliant 4x3 passport display and a flex titanium hinge that actually solves the early flaws of foldable tech. On the flip side, the rumored iPhone Ultra is wildly anticipated. It's promising a crazy efficient 2nm chip, top-tier software adaptability through iOS 27, and a relentless goal of a perfectly crease-free screen, but you're going to have to pay a massive premium for a first-generation product. Which leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question. Is the Apple ecosystem, the cutting-edge A20 silicon, and a slightly larger screen truly worth that massive premium over Samsung's beautifully refined, available today hardware? You're basically choosing between an incredible reality and a groundbreaking rumor. I'll leave you to weigh those options as we wait to see exactly what September brings. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.